and coverage of that game starts at 3 Eastern on select ESPN radio affiliates. Ravens tight end Mark Andrews is out for today's game against the Texans with a quad injury, only the second game he's missed, now in his 6th year in the league. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Broncos wideout Jerry Jeudy is expected to miss today's game against the Raiders with a sore right hamstring. Adam also reports Packers wideout Romeo Doubs is likely to play today against the Bears.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up on Monday, I'll tell you all the small things I saw this weekend that you need to know. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to the Bama Recap Show, presented by Freedom Marine Center. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton.
It's going to be at the 41, so it'll be a 51-yard field goal attempt for Will Reichard. Of course, he had a 52-yard field goal against Texas a year ago. Here's the kick. It's on the way, end over end, and it is good. Another lengthy kick by Reichard against the Texas Longhorns, and he draws Alabama to within 13-9.
He had to get past the 40.
Yep, Alabama holds. Alabama holds. They stymie and stifle the Texas Longhorns on a huge fourth down play here. Man in motion goes to the far side. Here's Milroe, loads up, looks down the left side. He's got a man there open in the end zone. Touchdown, Jermaine Burton. That will be 49 yards. Again, a low snap. Picked up by Milroe. He'll throw, and it's caught by Nyblack. He'll make the grab. Down to the 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Alabama. 39 yards. 39 yards. The Longhorns up to the line of scrimmage. Again, the victory formation. Ewers takes a knee, and that is going to do it.
Those are the calls from Learfield as the Texas Longhorns down the Alabama Crimson Tide 34-24. It was the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. Drew DeArmond, good Sunday morning to you, sir. Glad to see you made it back from Tuscaloosa in one piece.
Yeah, it was a long day, but it was a really good day. Great atmosphere in the stadium, electricity. We were in the press box by 3:15 and taking everything in, and it certainly was a big game atmosphere. Congrats to Texas. They were the better team. They outplayed, outcoached Alabama. Did a great job of executing. And Quinn Ewers, he seems to like playing against Alabama. That's all I can say, because he certainly throws the deep ball well against Alabama. If you talk to their people, he doesn't throw it well against anyone else, but he certainly does against the Tide. He did it again yesterday. Some stats that stand out to me is he had no turnovers. Now, Texas reminded me a little bit of the Ole Miss game in 2015, because they fumbled 3 times, didn't lose any of them. One of them, they called a completed pass early, and they would have recovered it anyway, but I thought it was a fumble that should have lost yardage in the first quarter when Malachi Moore made the hit. But again, Alabama didn't get any turnovers. No disruption, no turnovers. They gave up 5 sacks. 2 or 3 of those were on the quarterback, in my opinion, and they had 0 sacks. I mean, I only remember 2 or 3 times where they touched Ewers.
Yeah.
And so that's just that's a death blow when they've got those kind of weapons out there. When you've got the Xavier Worthies, who once again did most of his damage in the first half, but you've got A.D. Mitchell, who you know very well. You've got Jatavian Sanders, an outstanding tight end who made a big 50-yard play in the game. They did a pretty good job on Whittington. I think he only made a catch or two, but still, they've got weapons all over the field. And if you can't pressure the quarterback and you're not affecting him, and he has time to throw, then it's a death blow. And I just, going into the game, I was disappointed because I thought Alabama, through blitzing and through some organic stuff with the outside linebackers, who I still think is one of the top 2 most talented positions on the team, but being coached piss poorly, is I thought they'd be able to get some pressure. And I didn't see Dallas Turner all night long. I saw Chris Braswell a little bit.
Yeah.
And they had Quandarius Robinson in the rabbit package, but you just didn't see it have any kind of effect at all. And I just think right now, defensively, Alabama's biggest issue is the front 7 and the defensive line and the outside linebackers. They're not good enough. They're not playing good enough nearly against now, they did a good job against Middle Tennessee. That's Middle Tennessee. I'm talking about if you're going to win a championship.
Yeah.
Getting championship-level production. They haven't done that. And then offensively, certainly there's a talk about the offensive line and the sacks, but I thought the O-line started strong. They were running the ball well. They'd rushed for nearly 100 yards by the middle of the second quarter, but the quarterback wasn't good enough to supplement it with the passing game. And that you got to have balance in football today. And the quarterback, to me, 90% of the struggles was on the quarterback. He did not throw the ball with accuracy. He did not throw the ball on time. He had 2 horrendous turnovers that led to 10 points.
It did.
And I'll give Texas credit. And it's C.J. Vogel on my show Friday. He nailed it. He picked Alabama in a close game because he thought Alabama's defense would play better than it did. But he said, look, Texas's staff, since they've been there, they have not given up 50 yards rushing to a quarterback. They're not going to allow Milroe to run the ball. They're gonna play an umbrella in like a bubble and try to make him throw the football, and that's what they did. And he threw 2 bad interceptions. He was lucky he didn't throw a couple more. Now, he made a tremendous throw that we heard on the call by Eli Gold. And that was tremendous post-corner route.
Yeah.
But the problem, I've told you this repeatedly, Steve, he will make one throw like that, and then he will make 5, 6 more where you're just like, what was that? I mean, they missed some goal. They left too many points out on the field. And then I'm going to tell you another game it kind of reminded me of. I'd said the 2015, Ole Miss game, but it also – kind of reminded me of LSU in 2011 because they left so many points out there because you felt like Alabama let the game get into overtime, let it get away from them. Yeah. They left probably 17 points out there.
Yeah.
I just felt like, man, they left too many points. And it also kind of reminded me of 2016 National Championship game against Clemson that Alabama lost because They got the lead at the end of the third quarter, 16-13, but then the defense gave it up in a minute. And then you just felt like, I don't know that this offense is going to be able to score enough to win. Because in this day of football, man, and that's what started going through my head driving home last night in the wee hours of the morning. You just start thinking about – I started thinking about that 2011 LSU game. You remember that game?
Yeah.
I wasn't with the station at the time, wasn't in the media, but I watched it on TV, and I was talking to my colleague who had been there. I mean – think about how much football has changed in that length of time.
Yeah.
That was a rock fight defensive game.
Yes, it was.
No touchdowns. Decided in overtime on field goals.
9-6.
2 tremendous defenses.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't score 31 points or more, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay? And Alabama scored 24. They only had 362 total yards. And, again, they had to get away from the running game because I still think that hurt them because if you're able to throw the ball and hurt Texas, you can continue to pound it. And then they have to back off a little bit. Again, I just felt like they didn't play complementary football. And, again, and when you were replaying those calls, if you're replaying a 51-yard field goal and you're replaying a stop on 4th down, you're in trouble. And I'm talking about as the highlight.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because we only heard a couple of touchdown Alabamas. And even the Nyblack touchdown was ugly because Milroe dropped the snap. Now, there were some snap issues.
I wanted to go to snaps because every play starts with a snap. And you talked about it in particular on Thursday on the drive with what you saw this past weekend, but it feels like it's gotten worse with this game.
there was not any worm burners from the standpoint that ended up being a fumble.
But so many low snaps.
They were low. Yes, I understand that. But I saw them be low last year. Bryce Young would make chicken salad out of whatever because it comes down to vision, Steve. Are you a one-read quarterback, or can you go through your progressions and read? Okay. And again, I will defend McLaughlin in this play. It ended up being a touchdown. But I was watching it. It wasn't low. Milroe dropped it.
Did he really?
Yes. He dropped it, but he was poised, and he found it, and he didn't panic. And then he turned, and he looked up, and then he saw Nye Black. But the thing is,
maybe he was surprised it was in his breadbasket.
I think what really happened when there was a fumble there, it froze Texas's defense. Everybody almost stopped.
Yeah.
And then they're like, is there a whistle? Was it a because he had 2 snap infractions, which weren't bad snaps, but he had 2 snap infractions, which that's on McLaughlin. You can't do that. You've got to cut that out. There was 2 snap infractions. And so they're thinking, is this another snap infraction? Oh, no, it's not. It's a play. And then, I thought to myself in the press box, well, Alabama will take that, but boy, it's ugly. And I just think that I honestly thought, with the second horrendous interception, that Alabama would make a change at quarterback. I was surprised they didn't yesterday.
So I did want to get to penalties as well. There was one big one I thought right before halftime on the illegal man downfield, but penalties were definitely a big issue, Drew.
No, 10 for 90 yards. There was way too many. I know you're talking about they had 2 touchdowns called back. The one at the end of the half that made them settle for a field goal, which was an illegal man downfield on Darian Dalcourt, because Dalcourt thought he was going to take off running, but he threw the ball. And honestly, probably should have been intercepted, but it was tipped and then caught.
Yeah.
And then at the start of the second half, it was holding on Proctor because Milroe did a nice job of getting away from the pressure and then throwing. But again, to go back to the one near the end of the half, the biggest play that was missed, it was a perfect call. They caught Texas in what they wanted. Roydell was wide open out of the backfield. If that's a good throw, it's up the sideline. First down, maybe touchdown.
Maybe.
He throws it behind the guy.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this. He had 14 completions yesterday. 14 at 27, Steve. One was a drop. It was a check down to Jace McClellan. Hit him right in the breadbasket. Totally not his fault. But I'll just say this. Besides that throw and the one to the touchdown to Jermaine Burton, I don't think any of the other ones were accurate.
The second pick was awful.
No, both the picks were horrendous, okay? You've got to be able to read both of those. And I'm just telling you this. I watched the throws, man. The receivers are having to jump. They can't run after the catch, man. Just like I thought they came out in the second half. Great drive, great call. Bond beats the guy like a rented mule off the line of scrimmage. And if it's a good throw, that's a touchdown. It ended up being a completion, but because he had to turn around and catch it, that should have been out the door. That should have been touchdown Alabama, and it wasn't because, again, quarterbacking, so much of it is accuracy and anticipation and throwing the ball on time. And Milroe has a strong arm. It is not about arm strength.
No.
It's very, very strong.
Accuracy.
He just doesn't throw the ball accurately. And I got a text from a well-known media member, a really good friend of mine this morning. He said, do they need to change the offense to fit Milroe, or are they going to have to make a quarterback change? I said, it would not matter what offense they ran under Jalen Milroe. He's not a good enough thrower. They've got to make a change at QB.
I thought it was interesting hearing this answer from Nick Saban when asked whether or not he thought about playing more than one quarterback.
I did, but when he put the drive together to go down the field and score when we got ahead, I thought that gave him a lot of confidence. And but we never ever discussed it. I can't sit here and say the thought doesn't come to mind for any player that's having a difficult time. And but he made some good plays at the end of the game, and that was good to see. Obviously, the interception was, critical, in the game. And so we're just going to work to try to get all our players better.
That is as honest that I've heard Nick Saban speak about a individual player post game. You tell me if I'm wrong.
No,
that's as critical as I've ever heard Nick Saban speak about any one player coming off of a game.
Well, and I'll just say this. He said it throughout camp, saying just because a guy wins the job out of, and starts the first game doesn't mean he's going to still be the QB.
1,000%.
I do think they were going to make a change. It probably if they had continued to be down 13-6 going into the fourth quarter. But I think they should have made it as soon as he threw the horrendous interception to go down 27-16. I'm sorry. You've had your shot. You haven't moved the team all game. You scored. It reminded me a lot of what I saw in scrimmages. And I'll go ahead and say I was at a scrimmage. He didn't score in the last one. Got all field goals. That's pretty much what you saw yesterday until he finally ripped one throw. Okay?
Yeah.
You can't score points. And I mean, and I still say, if you go back and watch that game, I was in the stadium, so I saw it. They left a lot of points on the field, and they had a chance to score 2 or 3 more touchdowns. And if you throw the ball on time and you throw it to the right guy, and you're able to read, and I mean, I'll just say this: we'll have the audio from Milroe. We have it.
Yeah,
it was great. He's a tremendous leader. He's a tremendous kid. He stood there and took it. You know what I'm saying? And he owned it, and I totally appreciate that. But the bottom line is you got to produce, and against teams like that.
Yeah.
And the biggest difference in the game was Alabama turned it over, Texas did not, and I thought Ewers was a lot better than
they played
than
cleaner.
Milroe.
They played cleaner, and they're just as talented, if not more talented, in certain positions at Texas than at Alabama.
And Alabama made some mental errors defensively, got some stupid penalties, including late to seal the game on like an offside.
Oh, my gosh, last offside.
I mean, you just can't do stupid stuff like that. They had too many penalties, a couple of pass interferences. You got to play cleaner. But, again, there's too much pressure. Alabama, especially the way the game's changed now, it's very hard to win a game on defense. You've got to be able to score points. And I just thought Sark's game plan was brilliant. He did the East-West stuff, got the quarterback lathered up.
Reminded me a lot of the 2020 National Championship game against Ohio State.
And he ran it just enough.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought Alabama did a really good job against the run for most of the game, but he was also extremely smart as a coach. Late in the game, Alabama was tired, and he just ran the ball. Just run it. Now, give him some motions and shifts, but just run the football and keep the clock running. And I just thought Sark put on a clinic. He's an outstanding offensive mind.
Third down conversions, Texas was 7 of 18. Alabama was 5 of 14. There's other little stuff as well that we can dive into, but let's head out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can call in. Of course, this is the Bama Recap Show brought to you by Freedom Marine Center. You can call in at 256-576-4977. Wolverine Dan, how are you today this morning, sir?
Very well. Drew, I mean, you speak the truth, my friend. Milroe is a heck of an athlete. He's got some wheels. You could put him as an H-back. You could put him as a wide receiver. Those two positions would be perfect for him. And, he's a team player. I mean, if I was the coach, I'd say, listen, would you consider this? Because we're thinking about going with a different quarterback. And he sounds like a team player. Drew, I think he'd probably say yes to that.
Oh, I think, I don't know if he would be open to moving positions, but I definitely think he's got the right attitude, at least, publicly. When you're the QB and you're supposed to be the leader of the offense, he definitely I think he's a smart kid.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely trying to lead this football team. Yeah, for the betterment of the team, I think he could help them, no question about it, in kind of a gadget type role because he's such a great athlete. But the thing about it is, like I told some people in the press box, just because you're a great athlete doesn't mean you're a great quarterback. I mean, I mean, look. I mean, I've seen some quarterbacks who couldn't run a 6-flat 40, couldn't move at all, but they're extremely intelligent football-wise. They can read. They don't even have strong arms. Like I'll give you Gary Hollingsworth, for example. Couldn't throw the ball 25 yards, but he could throw it accuracy and anticipation, and he knew how to get the ball to people. And if you protected him, he could bring you home. I mean, look at Peyton Manning. He couldn't run at all. But and I don't even think Peyton Manning had a gun. But he had a superior football intellect as far as being able to read defenses and stuff. And I just think Milroe struggles from the neck up a little bit with the reading, going to a second and third option, and getting the ball out on time. And again, he has the physical tools, Dan. It's just I just don't think there's something missing in the offense when he's at the helm at the passing game.
One more thing about Bama game, and then I'll get to my game. penalties.
This is the Bama recap show, by the way, Dan.
All right, come on. All right, well, real quickly then, I'll say it quick. First off, I'll say there was a lot of penalties, a lot of mistakes. Those things need to be rectified. That was one of the problems. But, that quarterback from Texas, I didn't realize he was playing this game. I forgot about him last year. He played really well last year, Drew, against you guys, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, before he got hurt, yep.
Yeah.
He very well could have won last year's game. So I didn't realize. I forgot all about that. I know it's Bama recap, but real quickly, JJ's got a great percentage when he passes the ball. And I'll just say that and I'll stop. But I'm very happy.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you calling in, sir. Have a great NFL Sunday. By the way, we are leading you up to Falcons and Panthers. Some guy named Bryce Young will be taking his first start for the Carolina Panthers today, and you'll be able to hear that right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. In fact, that is game 1 of 3 today that we are going to bring you here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. As this afternoon, we've got the Eagles at the Patriots. That's right, you're going to get another Bama quarterback. In fact, there is people circling a certain Jalen Hurts to potentially be your MVP potentially this year in the National Football League. He'll start his journey today in New England at Foxborough, and later on tonight it's the Rockies at the Giants to close out an NFL Sunday with a little Major League Baseball. We'll hear more from Coach Nick Saban, as well as Drew's visit into the locker room as well. It is the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. We are live here this Sunday morning. We'll be right back.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
The representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders, and the homeowners of the Huntsville area a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Well, a lot of those sacks were 4-man rushes. One of them, I think, was a 3-man rush. We didn't get any pressure on their quarterback. We're trying to play so we could cover their receivers and rush 4 guys, and we didn't affect him at all. And, the third down stuff that we did do, they did a good job of moving the pocket, picking us, and playing man-to-man, and so we didn't do a very good job of affecting their quarterback, and we just got to do better. I can't sit here and say one guy broke down in pass protection. I know something different happened just about on each one of those, and I think sometimes we held the ball at quarterback. We got to do a good job of reading it and getting it out of your hand, and I don't think we did a good enough job of getting away from people and getting open, and they did a good job of matching the patterns. So,
Charlie?
That is Coach Nick Saban. And when I've talked to quarterbacks in the past, by the way, it's the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. Glad to have you along here on this Sunday morning. I've asked several quarterbacks, what's the sweet spot for a pocket? When do you feel like you are just comfortable enough and you're reading things? And I don't know how many times I've heard Drew, 3.5 seconds, maybe 4. 3.5 is kind of a good barometer to read everything, but if it's not out by 3 seconds, and I don't mean 3 Mississippis.
Yeah.
I mean 3 seconds. So there were several times at halftime I went back and looked at it. He was holding it for 5 seconds, for sometimes 7 seconds.
Yeah.
He is just holding the ball way too much.
Well, and then the thing is, I said this to a good friend of both of us, Jim Dunaway. I had the pleasure of sitting next to him in the press box, and I told Jim, watching Milroe, he's at his best, and when he did this a couple times, I thought he made plays. When he needs to climb up in the pocket, you know what I'm saying, and throw the ball stepping forward, stepping into every throw. If he sits there and tries to throw it flat-footed in the pocket, and you go and sit there and, like you said, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, the ball sails on him.
Yeah.
He needs to step in and learn. But he doesn't have a feel for the pocket and stepping up in it. And it helps your offensive line. Because just like a secondary can't cover forever if you can't get to the QB, receivers, and I know Coach Saban just said they didn't get open at times. But again, if you can't give an offensive line can't give you most of the time 20 seconds back or 10 or even 5.
Yeah.
You've got to get rid of the football and
3
help
seconds.
them out.
If you get more than 3 seconds, then you're just living on a gravy train. You're living in a fantasy world.
Right. So you have to keep your head up, and you've got to move up in the pocket and not just take off running. You've got to, and your receivers, of course, have to come back to you. But I just felt like there were still enough opportunities out there that where Alabama called plays, where if they were, especially in this game, they still scored 24. If they had executed 3 or 4 more plays that were there, that could have been there, you're talking about scoring 40-plus points and winning the game. But that's the difference between an average to below average quarterback and then a really good to elite quarterback, okay?
So just to hit the fast forward button potentially here, in a year from now, this is not as big of a deal as it is this year because the college football playoff is expanding to 12 teams. Sidebar to that, let's go back to this year because this is a big deal. Because now Bama, if they want to play for a national championship, they're going to have to get better. There's no doubt about that, but they're going to have to run the table.
Probably so, but I mean, they haven't even played an SEC game. So
I know.
There's still all that out in front of them.
Yes.
But I mean, there's also the specter. If you can't score enough points, you might lose to Wild Turkey. And what kind of just disaster would that be in 2 weeks? Because Lane Kiffin's going to score points. You've got to be able to think about it. I mean, Alabama, his first year in 2020, Alabama had to score 63.
Yeah.
I mean, to win the game because they had an elite offense. You have got to score points. You know, and now we've seen this Alabama defense. I still think they're pretty good, but they obviously are having issues rushing the passer, or they've got to learn. They've got to create some pressures of some kind. Okay, and they did a good job against Middle Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee almost beat Missouri. I think they're a decent team, but Texas ain't Missouri, and Texas ain't Middle Tennessee, and Ole Miss will probably be better than Missouri, and of course Middle Tennessee. So you've got to be ready. I don't even care about South Florida. They can roll anybody out there and beat South Florida unless it's just a disaster. They should beat South Florida, who's rebuilding. Okay, they're going to beat South Florida. They can just
they struggled against Florida A&M.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
They can run the football and win that game. Okay, it's a worse opponent than Middle Tennessee. I'm talking about when it's big boy ball again and you've got to play Ole Miss at home.
Yeah,
that ain't going to be easy with Lane Kiffin coming in. Now they struggle with Tulane, but Tulane's a good team. Probably better than Middle Tennessee, and they pushed them for over 3 quarters. But they found a way to score and win. Alabama has to score points. If you can't get in the 30s in the SEC, you're a dead duck. Okay, you just can't do it in this era of football. If you can't disrupt, create turnovers, sack the quarterback, and if you turn it over on offense and you cannot throw the football, you are dead. Okay, you can't just run the football down people's throats all night.
Let's hear from Jalen Milroe, courtesy of Jordy Arman, post-game after Texas.
Honestly, we can look in the mirror and just try to improve as a whole, as an offense, as a defense, just one team, one heartbeat. Like I said, it's just going to take all of us. Everyone just wanting to improve, wanting to get better, looking at some things to improve on, and I got to do better. I got to improve. I got to protect the ball. I got to continue to lead. And just learn from it, grow from it, and just understand that there's always more work to do.
What did you see in your second interception?
That was all on me. I'm going to look at film and see what some things I can improve on, but that pick was on me.
How do you improve decision making?
Just giving my coaches, looking to always improve, try to get better, and then also just looking at the film and just trying to improve.
Jalen, in those moments of error, do you find yourself looking over your shoulder at the other guys behind you, or how do you keep your composure?
No, not necessarily. Just looking to improve and get better. I know I can trust my coaching staff to want me to get better, and then give me the right resources to improve.
How are you keeping yourself encouraged and you continue to lead this team?
Honestly, just my Lord and Savior. He didn't do nothing by mistake. He's going to lead me in the right direction, and I trust him.
It seems like you saw a lot of confidence in you after that first drive that you guys put together. How did you feel after that first drive that you scored?
You just have to have the next play mentality. It was a great drive that we all put together, all 11 of us. It was a great drive, but you have to have that next play mentality, and that's key to being successful.
A lot of your teammates have expressed confidence on your behalf. Did you have a message back to them after this one?
There's 2 things we can do. We can linger on this loss, or we can try to improve and get better at the football team. And I bet on my guys any day of the week. So we're going to get better from this. We're going to learn from it. We're going to grow. What y'all saw tonight, that's okay. We're going to improve. We're going to improve. We're going to get better, and we're going to attack the day, the next day we have.
Coach Saban said you were really communicating the whole game with Tommy Rees. What happened what did y'all talk about after the first interception initially?
Yeah, he spoke on what he saw. I spoke on what I saw, and it just led to the next drive, the next drive. No matter what, good, bad, or ugly, just being hungry, just staying together. Me and him have a great relationship, so we're just trying to improve and just learn from each drive that we had. No matter which one it was, we're just trying to learn from it.
There's a couple
snap penalties, looked like kind of a bobble snap too. Coach Saban said he was surprised because it didn't seem like that was an issue in practice. What seemed to be the issue there?
When you play a great opponent like this, it's going to create a lot of chaos as far as as a whole, you know. And it just have to have laser focus, all of us. And there's no one person we can point fingers at. Maybe I need to be louder with the cadence. Just communicate to the offensive line better. So there's no one person we can point our fingers at. That was all one mistake.
Texas's pass rush got to you a lot without having to blitz. Did you feel like you had to break off too many plays and get outside?
Texas was a great team as a whole. Great defense, great sound defense, aggressive, strong, physical. So you got to give it to them. You got to give it to them how great they were. They had a great game plan that they had to approach this game, and they caused issues. We're going to learn from it. We're going to fix it. And but we do have to recognize that they had a great ball team on their side.
How tough is it to refocus after scoring plays get called back for flags? What's it like trying to rally the guys in the huddle if some of those guys are kind of down?
Next play mentality, good, bad, or ugly. Just that next play mentality. That's very key. No matter what happens on that drive, just got to move on to the next play. You can't control it, you can't get the play back, so you can't linger on it. And that's a key thing as an offense.
What's the message to the fans that came out tonight, and what's the goal the rest of the year? I'm sure it's went out.
The goal of this year is to be the best version of ourselves each and every day. No matter which day it is, just try to get 1% better, and learn and grow. The season is not over. The season's not over. We're going to look in the mirror. We're going to try to improve. We're going to keep fighting. And no matter who it is, we're going to give our best foot forward as a team. Offense, defense, special team, no matter what, we're going to keep on coming.
Did something click for you late in the game? Did you feel such confidence? Did things start to become easier, or did something click?
Not necessarily. It was just me and Coach Reach just communicating, Coach Saban, the whole offensive staff coming together. Because the key thing is just we all on the same page as the offense. We were communicating, and with that, we saw some areas that we can attack versus Texas, and so that was key. And it just all came to a group effort, and it allowed us to succeed on drives that were really able to put the ball down the field and move the ball.
Anything else? What's that locker room like in the first, I should say, at halftime after you guys have struggled offensively? Is it like yelling, screaming? Is it rah-rah? What's it like in there?
Hungry. We knew that we'd get the ball coming out of halftime, so there was no hanging heads. Everybody just knew what was at stake. We knew what was ahead of us to approach the next half that we had. So it was just everyone just speaking on the game plan. We had the coaches come in the locker room to speak about, hey, what's some things that we can improve on. So it was all just like learning for us in the locker room. We just all had a positive mentality as far as approaching the next half.
On the flip side of that, what was it like after the game in the locker room?
We just had to realize that we played a tough opponent. Great team that we played against, and we have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that they're a great football team. We also, with that, we got to acknowledge how we can improve as a team. Everybody on the team just knowing that it's going to take all of us to keep this thing rolling and just keep honestly just getting better.
That is Jalen Milroe. Last night, after Texas's win at Alabama's the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center, along with Rudy Arman, Steve Moulton here with you. So let's go through it, shall we? The third quarter drives started off with a field goal. That was a 7-play drive, 42 yards that took 3:56. And that was the second longest drive of the game. The last drive of the first half was an 8-play drive for 50 yards. That's 12-play drive. The second drive of the game was the longest drive. But right after that first initial field goal, 3 plays, punt. 3 plays, punt. 5 plays, touchdown. 1 play, INT. 6 plays, touchdown. 3 plays, punt. So 3 and outs, and all 3 of those 3 and outs drew in the second half.
Yeah, totally. And in 2 games, even though he played really well in the first one, Jalen Milroe has 27 pass completions. And sometimes in the recent past with Alabama's quarterback play, you'd have 27 pass completions in 3 quarters. Okay, which means you got people touching the ball, which means you're balanced on offense, you're running the ball, you're throwing it. But I just don't think they're proficient enough offensively, and it puts pressure on a couple things. It puts pressure on the running game because you have to be able to run the football to put yourself in position, and it puts pressure on the offensive line because again you got to get movement, and of course if the QB's holding it too long, I mean, that is taxing to protect your quarterback in that way, okay?
It is.
And I think, Milroe's propensity to run is what caused the illegal man downfield in Dalcourt's, defense.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to take off, so he's
Yeah.
trying to get down there and block for his quarterback, and then he pulls up and throws. Now, with Bryce Young most of the time, they're probably not going to do that because he had a tendency to get out of contain, but he always kept his head up, and he really didn't even want to run. He wanted to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of QB,
Yeah.
but again, it's about getting the ball out, and the ball is just not coming out on time. If there's no rhythm to it, it's kind of boom or bust. The boom was hitting that beautiful corner route. I mean, you couldn't throw it any better than that. But the problem is the bust is he missed 2 or 3 others, or the throws were inaccurate, and a 20-yard pass should have been a 50-yard completion.
So we've talked a lot about defensive pressure from Texas. Are we not going to talk what needs to improve defensively? Because even taking a look at the TFLs, Texas had 9 tackles for loss. Alabama had 2 tackles for loss. So tell me a little bit about what you saw scheme-wise out of Coach Steele and what needs to tighten up moving forward.
Well, Nick Saban said they wanted to go with 4- and 5-man pressures. In other words, Alabama did not blitz very much at all.
Yeah.
We didn't see that.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to win one-on-one battles, and Alabama got roached and Hutzlered. I mean, you want to tell the truth? I mean, Freddie Roach's guys didn't do a good enough job. Neither did the outside linebackers, and that's, of course, Freddie Roach he's the D-line coach. Coleman Hutzler is the outside linebackers coach. I thought Texas's outside linebackers played well. I thought their D-line, especially the last 2.5 quarters or so against the run.
Yeah.
They started doing a better job. They closed that down, and then they started getting pressures without blitzing from the outside backers in the D-line. So I just thought Texas won the game up front. Alabama wasn't good enough. I think the O-line would have been helped by better quarterback play, no question about it. I still think 90% of the offense's issues is at the quarterback. And again, because if you've got a young left tackle, you need to help him out. You've got to be able to move up in the pocket. You've got to be able to show a feel for that a little bit, but they didn't do it. And then as far as, defensively, Alabama's got to figure out a way against a good opponent because they'll overwhelm South Florida, in my opinion. But you've got to figure out a way to generate pressure, whether it be blitzing or winning some battles up front to as a defensive line to get home. Because if you give a quarterback all day to throw, I only remember one time where Ewers got hit as he threw. And he still completed it to Jatavian Sanders for a first down. It's like 3rd and 8 or something, and he got hit as he threw.
Yeah.
And it was wide open over the middle, made a good throw, catch, first down. And they broke a tackle, and you move the chains. That's what I'm saying, man. You've got to get home. And then if you get home enough, quarterbacks start looking, and they see things that's not there because they start feeling pressure that's not there, and then they throw the ball too quickly, or they telegraph one and you throw a pick or something like that. Alabama never made Ewers uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He was as comfortable as he could have been all night long. It was like shooting fish in a barrel, and he shot him. And he made some really great plays, and credit to Texas, credit to Quinn Ewers, credit to their team. They're a better football team than Alabama right now. Alabama's got a lot of stuff to work on.
Texas held the ball 10 minutes and 58 seconds in the fourth quarter, and, of course, outscored Alabama in the fourth quarter 21-8. And total yardage, this is just fourth quarter, 176 yards to 67. The offense for Texas was efficient, to say the least, in the fourth quarter for the Texas Longhorns. Heck of a response right after that score to tighten things up, and then all of a sudden you thought once that fourth quarter would flip that this game would be decided in the fourth quarter, and Texas took the ball and ran with it literally as well. I mean, they rushed it, they passed it. It's 2 for 4 on third downs, Bama had 2 penalties in the fourth quarter. Texas had 1. Total plays 22-10 in favor of Texas over Alabama in the fourth quarter.
Well, and see, their inability to get pressure is huge because, and I'm talking about from an Alabama perspective, they took the lead, and it was 16-13.
Yeah.
Texas got that penalty. Their only penalty of the fourth quarter. It was a hold. It ended up being 2nd down and 15,
That's
and
right.
Alabama still couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
It went right down through the ball, went right down the field.
Even that third down call, where they rushed right up the middle, that little delayed draw, I thought that spoke volumes to the game plan prepared by Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, he's a great play caller. He's one of the best. I mean, I've had doubts about him as a head coach, but that was the biggest win of his career. I thought he had his team very well prepared. Again, he's a supreme offensive mind. Now, of course, predictably, when Alabama loses a game, everybody's mad at the coordinators. I really am not. I don't put that on Tommy Rees. I put it on the quarterback because I saw enough plays where guys were open.
Yeah.
If you execute the game plan, of course, the Kavita as well. That's who they started at quarterback. Well, yeah, that's true. But I also say this about Tyler Buckner. Don't forget, he's only been at Alabama since late April, not even spring practice.
That's right.
He has not been there very long.
Yeah.
But I do think at some point in time, it's inevitable we're going to see Tyler Buckner, and he is going to be the quarterback at the University of Alabama.
Let's take our final time out. Final call for phone calls. We're walking you up to Falcon football as they're getting ready to take on Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers as we continue along on the Bama Recap Show presented by Freedom Marine Center. We'll be back.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. New or used, Freedom Marine has just the boat to make your time on the water the best it can be. Pontoons, fishing, ski boats, you name it. And all season long, Freedom Marine is giving away 4 packs of Alabama football tickets. Just log on the Freedom Marine Facebook page and like, share, and comment to be eligible. New and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service, and parts. It's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
You've got it locked on your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Nick Saban Show. This is Eli Gold, and this is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
No, they hit big plays. I mean, if you look at until the end when they ran the clock out with like 5 or 6 minutes to go, we had a chance to stop them on third down. They ran for first down. We had another chance to stop on third down, jumped off sides. But all the plays that they made were all explosive plays. All were explosive plays. And that was the difference. They didn't make explosive plays in the third quarter. And we played better. We got off the field on third down. So they took a lot of shots in the game, and they made them. And we knew they would take shots in the game. They did last year. That's how they play. And it's a good way to play. So, but if you play them correctly, they can turn out to be long foul balls too. And we didn't do that. We didn't make that happen.
That is Nick Saban after the loss to Texas. By the way, the first non-conference home loss for the Crimson Tide since the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe back in 2007. It is the...
I will say this. Sorry, T, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the one thing I'll say that I know I'm right about is there's a big difference between the Texas Longhorns and Louisiana Monroe.
Big difference. 256-576-4977, the telephone number. Freedom Marine Center proudly presents the Bama Recap Show. We'll be here each and every week, even during the bye week. We will be here all the way through the SEC championship game. Ray Dog is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Appreciate you calling in this Sunday. How are you, Ray Dog?
I'm well. Yourselves?
Doing well.
I was telling Steve off air, I was on my way to the sports bar, and hey, look, we got a local show on Sunday. How about that?
Appreciate it, Ray.
But a couple of free things I kind of took away from the Alabama game, and, you're going to review the tape and get press conferences and all of that. The first thing was penalties are still a concern. Alabama had 2 touchdowns called back on penalties. The discipline is still a concern, and Saban somewhat addressed that in his post-game presser. The second thing for me was if you know your freshman left tackle is getting torched, and that's what happened. It was baptism by fire for that young man. How do you not give him a running back or a tight end to help him chip, to give him a little help?
I mean,
because for me, there were key situations where he just got torched, and that was a game-changing circumstance.
That's an interesting.
And the third thing is Nick Saban has preached it his entire career at Alabama. We have to finish. You lost 21-8 in the fourth quarter. I'll listen to y'all's response. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ray Dog.
I appreciate it, Ray. And again, apologies. I wasn't trying to interrupt you there. You made some good points. It's interesting with the tight ends. Maybe that's something they look to at some point. But I think they believe in Caden Proctor's talent. And I'll still say 2 or 3 of those sacks were not on Caden Proctor. They were on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he held the ball too long, Ray. Caden Proctor, Cam Robinson, Andre Smith, I don't care who you're playing against, especially when you're playing against high-level talent like Texas has got, coached by the best defensive line coach in America in Bo Davis. You can't hold out for, 5, 6, 7 seconds, okay? He may be getting torched, but again, he was getting beat. But if the quarterback has a feel for the pocket, moves up in the pocket, I've seen tackles a lot of times. The guy may beat you off the edge, but you can get enough of the guy to push him past the quarterback if the QB moves up in the pocket and has a feel for the position. The QB has no feel for the position, period.
It did make me think about that video. Was it about 2 years ago that was released? Bo Davis on the bus, his, I want to say, pep talk to the team, and it really felt like that little pep talk. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's on YouTube, it's on TikTok, I'm sure it's all over social media a couple of years ago on his speech to his boys after a Texas loss. I think it was the Oklahoma game.
Oh, yeah. He brings that kind of intensity and accountability.
Well,
he demands it.
You saw it. You saw it big time. I did want to briefly kind of go over the SEC. It wasn't a great weekend as well. Again, for the SEC, Kentucky struggled against Eastern Kentucky. Drew's already mentioned about Missouri struggling at home over Middle Tennessee State. Heck, even Austin Peay held an early lead over the Tennessee Volunteers. They later recovered and won 30-13. But goodness gracious, we found out what happened to Texas A&M at Miami, 48-33. The two best wins from the conference, got to give it to Ole Miss with their road win at Tulane, 34-20 was that final. And the Auburn Tigers snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat, because it seemed like every single time Cal was going to take that thing by the throat, they would slip through the hands and go, we don't want to win. Well, you want to win. We don't want to win. So Auburn, to their credit, they found a way to win on the road at Cal in what was a ugly-looking game. But a win's a win for Hugh Freeze, and 14-10 is that final score. And some late news that came out, I don't know if people know, is that Hunter did play in the game, carried the ball 11 times for the Auburn Tigers, toted it for 53 yards.
Yeah, and we had Brian Matthews on the show, and he said he was traveling. So when he told us that Hunter was traveling, I figured he was going to play. And credit to Auburn. They didn't play really well offensively. They were really bad the whole game.
They were.
But, the Fairweather made some plays as a tight end, and as my colleague in the car told me, watching up from above, I'm sure Rod Bramlett almost jumped out of the press box. But, it was just one of those things where Auburn found a way to win. Their defense, Asante played great. The defense played really well. Cal was their own worst enemy. They missed 3 field goals. Their kicking game was an abomination. And so they let Auburn hang around, and then Auburn took the game from them. That's what happens.
Next up, it is a road trip to Tampa. South Florida was a winner over Florida A&M, 38-24. That was a home game for the Bulls, but this is a team that's 1-1, not a very good team. Florida A&M had a total of 377 total yards against the Bulls. So I'd like to believe this is an evaluation game coming up here for Alabama, Drew.
I would think so, and I hope Tyler Buckner gets some reps. I'll just say I think you're to the point where you've got to give other quarterbacks a chance as well. And I hope Tyler Buckner gets in the game and they take a long look at him to see if he can be more productive for this offense.
South Florida did lose their first game at Western Kentucky 41-24, just so you know that. We will have the coverage for you. In fact, coming up tomorrow, right after the drive, it'll be the second Crimson Tide Rewind. Last week was, of course, Labor Day. It made me go number 1, thinking this was the first one. Anyway, they'll have a lot to rewind. Will Corey Reamer tomorrow?
Hey, your MVP, Will Reichert. Hell of a game.
Yeah, I think that's all you need to know.
Pretty much.
I think ultimately Drew DeArmond just summed up. Enjoy your day of football. Falcon football comes up next as they take on Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, and then later on this afternoon it'll be Jalen Hurts and the Eagles traveling to Foxborough to take on the Patriots.
And Mac Jones.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's Mac. It's a big year for Mac Jones. I'm so focused on Jalen. It's a lot of people are focused on Jalen. But you're right. It's an all Bama quarterback fest. Have a great day. We'll see you again here next Sunday.
Back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and today we get to start the 58th season of Falcons football. And the Carolina Panthers are here, just like they were September 3rd, 1995, to play their first game in France.